Set?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to the Spiritual Uplevel Podcast. I'm your host, Jeri Cristine, and today I have a really special guest. She's from my area of the world in Florida, and this is Meghan Jones. And I'm so excited to have Meghan. She is so well-rounded in so many different things. I'm going to just read her bio for you. Meghan Jones is a well-being consultant who specializes in holistic health transformations for the mind, body, and spirit. She is an IIN certified holistic health coach, an AFAA certified personal trainer, and author of the mindfulness book, 30 Little Thoughts. Inspired by her own struggle with disordered eating, Jones began studying under a shaman in 2011 and became a certified integrative nutrition health coach and trainer. Now she teaches others how to achieve their well-being objectives through a holistic approach to food, fitness, and consciousness. Jones's expertise has been featured on outlets like Voyage Tampa, Canvas Rebels, Bold Journey, and podcasts including The Opulent Life and The Self Project Studio. Welcome, Meghan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's funny because you said we're neighbors, but we're also neighbors from where we grew up, because I'm also Midwestern. So that was fun to connect that way too.
Yeah, I love that. Us Midwestern girls.
Exactly.
So tell us tell us your story. How did you get to be doing what you're doing today? What called you?
It's windy. Everybody's story is windy, right?
Yes.
It's very windy. And I grew up in Minnesota. Jeri Cristine was in Nebraska, so not too far. And so my whole life, I've been that friend or that girl who was always into fitness or always into eating trends or whatever, even though I was really focused on music. And I've played professionally in a professional orchestra for over 25 years, and that's a whole nother world to speak on. But I certified in personal training, I don't know, probably like 12, 15 years ago, because I was always the go-to, like, I'm bored with my abs, what should I do? Just from friends or whoever at music festivals. And I always said out loud to myself, I really want to certify in nutrition. And I never, took myself up on that. But I was always like eating fat free in the 80s, or no carbs, or anything that was like a trend, using my body as a guinea pig. And I didn't see until my life really started to fall apart that food could be the base of a lot of stuff falling apart or connecting for me. It actually took a long time. Like I went to a therapist, my life fell apart. She saved my life. She sent me to an energy worker friend of hers a couple years later. Beautiful. This energy worker sent me to her shaman friend. And I've been mentoring with her for, I don't know, 13 years or so. And I started to see how everything is energy and everything is connected. And eventually I went to health coaching school, right? Fast forward. I'd never heard of a health coach. I thought I was going to nutrition school because it's called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. But they were talking about health coaching, like in the orientation. And I was like, oh, that's me. I was crying. I was like, I never knew there was a term for it. And so like with that, I just sort of nerded out on their stuff and further books. And I learned and I learned. And now I realize that having cleaned up my own eating, like realizing what my body needed for fuel, not to abuse it, or for like using exercise for permission to eat or as punishment for what I ate, or eating to be skinny or recognized or loved or seen, or, not eating to be recognized skinny, or, whatever the wave of the day was. I realized that when I cleaned up my eating, everything started, like my allergies cleaned up, my relationships shifted, my exercise disorder was able to become under control. Like everything started to align. I used to run pure stress, pure Midwestern codependence, all this awfulness, uh, needing everyone's validation, needing everyone's opinion, and now I don't. And so I really help people find their own way, their own version of this, clean up their eating, lower their stress, heal their lives, so they can actually start living happily and enjoying and feeling aligned and on purpose as well.
Wow. So I love that it's like you took everything that was working for you and realized, like you said, that everything is energy and everything works together. It's like I feel like a lot of times things are so compartmentalized. Like people don't realize that their food can affect their relationships or their decision making,
Yeah.
or that how they work out can affect those things. You mentioned I used to do something that you mentioned, which was I was always training for marathons. I was always running from something.
I was too.
Yeah.
I was a serial marathon runner.
Yes. And then I would say I would eat a burger and fries and say, good thing I like to run, and I would run extra the next day.
Oh my
And
God,
it
you're my
was,
twin sister.
oh, my body seriously just started to started to break down eventually. So I have 3 children and they're adopted because my adrenals stopped working, my ovaries stopped working, everything was shutting down because that's how I was treating it.
Yeah.
So I love how you said that you recognize it all goes together. Everything is energy, and you have to listen to your own body and what works for you.
And a lot of people don't understand that their body is, people will be like, oh, I might be intuitive, but, or I don't get hunger cues, or I don't get, your body is always talking to you, always communicating. And the only time a lot of people listen, it used to be me raising my hand, guilty. I can't believe you were a serial marathoner also. Anyway, we have so much in common. But a lot of times, the only time we listen is when our body hands us our bill, and it hands
Yeah,
us its bill. And it's like, F you, man. Like, I can't do this anymore.
yeah, yeah.
And it shuts down. And there's that cliche, people only appreciate their health when they don't have it. And it's really true.
It's sadly it is. Sadly it is. That's so true. It's like I have this vision of like my body trying to keep up, and finally it's like I give in.
Yeah,
I'm done. Good luck
Uncle,
to you.
and it's the little things, like it's the little things, like the food allergies that were obviously not putting me in anaphylactic shock in the hospital, but the food allergies that I was having, that I was just feeding literally with inflammatory ingredients and things that were really not beneficial for my body, because either they were, fat free or carb free, or this many calories on this app, or, like it, the little health issues that we choose to ignore, or we think they're smaller. Oh, I just have allergies, or I just have, it's not just that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get to the root of that. So how do you, when you're working with your clients, how do you get to the root? Like, how do you discover, since you don't teach just one type of diet, how do you discover what works for each person?
That is, it's fun, and it's definitely a journey, like holding hands with that person, right? Because there will be, I'm trying to think of specific examples, but there are people will come to me because they're a conundrum to their registered dietitian, or their nutritionist will say, I don't know what to do with you. And like one example, she was 33 and came to me, and, not celiac, but severely gluten intolerant, and hypoglycemic and whatever, but like only 33, mom of two, high powered, wonderful job, like normal human. And she was like, I'm not eating this. I'm not eating this. I can't eat this. And so I was like, okay, like if you're in the realm of beans, right, we can get sort of nano and weird. I'm like, okay, what is terrible? And she's like, I can't eat these. And so she was like, I think that maybe I will try chickpeas, right? So she tried chickpeas, and we tried to bring in some different foods, also not doing the gluten, but other grains that could benefit her, right? And things started shifting, and her body started to become a little less inflamed, a little less bloated, right? Because it was getting some of the fiber that she did need. And then stuff comes up. If you say, what do you think is something that might be disrupting your digestion or something, the first thing out of people's mouths is often common. Sometimes people will say, I'm not sleeping that well.
Mm,
So then you might go in that door, because sleep does promote healthy digestion, right? Some people might be like, I think coffee in the morning is disrupting me. Great. So maybe we move your coffee to the afternoon. Coffee doesn't have to be the devil unless it is for your body, right? So it's looking at those different areas of your system. And then also there are layers where, people will go through huge traumatic things, whether it's family stuff, whether it's losing a home in a hurricane, whether it's, whatever it is, and they start to realize that a lot of the weight that's on their body is energetic weight protecting them from other things, right? Their body is in inflammation, like protection mode, safety mode. So then it's going into shedding those layers and realizing and allowing the deeper cellular level to know that it's safe, to know that it's secure. Like, what does safety and security feel like? It might feel like tea. It might feel like, reading a book your mom gave you. It might feel like, whatever, being in prayer and talking to your grandma. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it looks like, but it's finding that kind of safety so your cells can start letting go of stuff.
Wow. So it sounds like you're using some intuition, yours and your clients, and then some trial and error to see how the body reacts, and then even some almost like counseling,
Oh yeah.
energy type stuff to wrap it all together and
There's a
really settle
lot.
it in.
There's a lot. Because even on one side, like I have somebody currently who's I freaking love my clients. I love my people. I really, really, really love them. And I love how they start opening up to themselves even, right? And she's been avoiding exercise even though she's an athlete. Always been an athlete. College athlete, right? Now she's in her 50s and just didn't get around to it today, was super busy, didn't get it in today, right? And then we start looking at it. And at one point, like I was just out walking before her session and it came into me to sort of why it might be, but I wanted her to say it. So we went into her session and I was like, why do you think exercise takes the absolute last priority? And she talked a little bit and then she realized and she saw very clearly that she associates it with her ex.
Oh,
It's one
wow.
thing they did together. And it's one of the times that she got very positive attention from him because there wasn't much of that. And it was, and so it was this thing, but it looked like I'm really too busy at work. I've really got too much to do. I've got to run these errands, and it looked like that, but it actually had other layers to shed to bring exercise to her because she's an
Wow.
athlete and not attach it to that. Does that make sense?
I
There's a
love
lot of
that.
that.
I love that so much because you said earlier too that you work with the people who are conundrums to their nutritionists. That has been me at times in my life. I was working with the nutritionist and like one time I was supposed to eat as much food as I could eat in a day and see what happened with my weight and numbers and stuff. And then the next day eat nothing. And like literally no change.
Nothing changed.
My
Nothing
body was
changed.
like, you know, and after like 30 days, she was like, I don't know, I have no idea. Like this should not be happening. And I know now that most of it was energetic.
Yeah.
There were
Yeah.
so many things I needed to deal with. And my body was basically, like we said earlier, just like, oh, F off. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna
tired.
stay at this weight. We're at this weight. I don't care if you starve me. I don't care if you overstuff me. I'm not moving. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because it's energetic, and our cells remember. Our
Yeah.
cells remember, and we're running the same feeling patterns and habits. We're running the same thought patterns and habits. You wake up in flight or fight. Like oh shit, or my to-do list, or whatever you have in your head. You know, and another example. I mean, there are people who are also underweight, right?
Yeah.
Yes, of course, sometimes that can be hyperthyroid or whatever. It can be a thing, but those also come on energetically. There are somatic meanings, mental and physical, emotional reasons behind physical ailments, which are really important to look into, which I can share on that too. But there's one person in particular that she's underweight and has shifted her eating and is eating so much better and so many more varieties of beautiful foods and vegetables and everything. But what is padding her is the clutter in her house.
Hmm.
And so also the energy is like TV static in her house because there's all this stuff. And she's not a hoarder by any means, but there's just like, it's just packed and cluttered and the things under her bed and in her closet and all this stuff and everywhere and these papers and her sleep is disrupted and she wakes up in flight or fight and she's like not ever. So it's interesting where the safety patterns come in for people, and how it affects your body.
Wow. That's fascinating to me. I'm fascinated because, you know, so many times people again want to address one issue when it's the whole person that you have to be looking at, not even just their body, but all of it, their
All of
emotions,
it.
their mental, even like you're saying, their house.
The house.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to take you back to where you said there's somatic reasons for what's going on in our body. So emotional. Talk some more about that.
Um, yeah, it's fascinating. So I can talk to me, and then one person, like one big example comes on to share too. But like for me, people will say, "Oh, you don't get sick." I don't. I haven't. I mean, when I was little, I had like nonstop, constant strep throat, and I think in 10th grade I had mono really badly, or what, right? What we had when we were little. But I don't get sick anymore. A lot of it is my lifestyle and the food and how I live. But I end up like I have a total knee replacement. I got it.
Oh.
I got it 5 years ago, and I have last summer I broke my wrist, and 6 hours later, I have metal plate in my wrist, and so I really believe in the importance of Western medicine, clearly. And I
Yeah.
also really believe in the balance between, your body wants to self-regulate, your body wants to hit homeostasis and do what it knows to do. Your body knows how to heal and knows where it wants to be. If we need the help of Western medicine, yes, thank you, great, awesome. We
Mhm.
need them very much. And we also need ourselves and our intuition and what we can do. And knees, if you look them up, I have a couple books. Some of my clients call them, let's look in the crazy books. But, knees really, really super generically are flexibility and flexibility in life and flexibility moving through things. And I can always come off as a recovered codependent Midwestern daughter. I can always come off as flexible, but inside, what am I running? Like, like,
Yeah.
so that was a wake up call for me. Like, where do I need to be more flexible? Another client came into me. She came in. I have a good handful of health coaches who are my clients. And she came into me for breath work, and we were breathing and we were breathing and we were breathing. At some point, she shared with me that she was clearing up her own candida, which is pretty common in people. It's a yeast overgrowth and um, gut bacteria and stuff like that, like dysbiosis in the gut. That's what I'm trying to say. And a lot of that is around unworthiness or not
Oh,
being seen or not being heard. And so then she said for a while, she's like, well, can we can we add food and further coaching on this while I clear this up? And so we did that, and she cleared it up, and shockingly also her TMJ cleared up, which I thought was actually pretty awesome.
mhm.
And we're still breathing together, but also her migraines she's off her migraine shots that she's been. So it's not because I'm a miracle worker, it's because all of these things really are energetically connected. And if you clear up some of the really root layers, other layers come in, it's beautiful work, it's brutal work, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of the feels
Yeah.
that need to come up to move through and release. But there are always, like, if people struggle with back problems, of course, like there's all the little T whatevers and C whatevers and all the little like nano bones in your body and everything. But super generically, back issues is feeling not supported, whether it's financially or maritally or what it is, it's lacking support. And so looking at that and where in my life maybe your home life is wonderful, but at work you're really treated like dog do, so it's important to look at that stuff.
I can relate to that one. I had a discectomy 10 years ago. 10 years, yeah, almost exactly 10 years ago. And it was one of the worst when the disc blew out, one of the second worst that my surgeon had seen in 40 years. And totally what you're saying resonates. My whole life, I was one of those, I felt like if I was going to be taken care of, I had to do it myself. I
Myself.
always had to do everything myself. And now, you know, fast forward 10 years later, it ended my running career, which was a blessing in disguise because I needed to change my relationship with exercise. But fast forward 10 years later, I've cleared that stuff up energetically, no longer feel that way. I no longer have back issues.
Right. It's
Mhm.
amazing. And the thing is, I'm not saying by any means these physical ailments aren't there. They hurt
Yeah,
like hell, but it's your body screaming, saying, you got to change something. And it's not just change something structurally. I mean, yes, support. If your back is hurting, also, please do some safe core abdominal strengthening so that your abs can support your back, right? We need to,
sure.
we need to go into that literal support in your physical structure. But at the same time, it shows up into real life pain with 100% energetic and mental and somatic undertones.
Yeah, that's so good. So when you have you have the nutrition consulting, you have fitness, and you have breath work. When a client comes to you, what does it look like? Like, how do you start the process with them?
Well, usually, usually we'll have a discovery call, just 30-minute free call where we just talk and they just say to me what's up, or they're wanting to shift, or why they're ready, like just done over it, right? Some people will just message me and say, I need your services because of this. And they'll either write a couple sentences or a huge tome. And I still hop on a free call with them because I really want to know exactly like what's coming up right now. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of layers around it. And and then, I mean, the bigger work I do with people is 3 months. And we'll meet on like once a week in calls. And we might think we're going to go in and talk about food and broccoli or something. But if something comes in at work or something comes in with the ex, it's totally connected because it's going to directly affect their eating, their digestion, their sleep, right? So we go into that. And if you are my full one-on-one client, we do breath work, we'll schedule workouts, we'll do whatever, like it'll be really fun. Some people just work and just train with me, but then they'll ask me food questions.
Mhm.
Some people will come and just say, I want to do breath works, I need energetic work. So how do I work with people? I work with people kind of as a big whole package as my 3 month. And then some people will go into another 3 month and another 3 month, which is common. And some of my 3 months now are, breath work clients or something, right? So it's people come to me in individual little ways or like the big package program.
Nice. And for people listening on the podcast, do you do stuff over Zoom as well? It
Oh,
doesn't.
only. Yeah, I'm all online. I'm
Okay.
online. So that's the cool thing because I entered health coaching school in 2019, which was all of us were like do and going along, right? And then pretty soon thereafter, not soon thereafter, but like half a year thereafter, the planet shut down.
Yeah.
So my health coaching school was all online. So I was already building a fully online program. And
Right.
so my clients are all over the place. So it's on Zoom or sometimes, Messenger video or whatever people are wanting to be on. And then we train through the video, we do breath works through the video. It's incredibly, I mean, you talk about one of the big benefits that came out of that is Zoom and this kind of like communication.
I totally agree. I was literally just saying before this interview that I love working from home. So it's so nice. I
Yeah.
appreciate it so much. And part of my stress was the stress of going to the office every day. The traffic for one,
Yeah.
having to get up and get ready and be somewhere on time and be presentable all the time for everybody else. It was
Yeah.
I too am very grateful for Zoom.
Yeah, it's good. It's connecting us with a lot of people we wouldn't get to.
Totally, totally. So one thing I want to bring in before we wrap things up is you say that you mentored with a shaman since 2011. I want you to talk about that a little bit because I think for a lot of people, the word shaman is scary. It like implies, I don't know,
Like
religion
a witch
or
doctor.
exactly, exactly. But I too mentor with two different shamans, and they both
Oh,
describe it as energy work. I see
okay.
all I do is I see energy and I help people repair their energy, remove negative energy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So how does that fit in with what you're doing?
Oh, yeah. Basically, I'm when I'm in client calls or even talking with you, right? Same with you. You're hearing my guys running your energy. I'm hearing your guys running my energy, because there's a connection. There's an energy between us, screen or no screen.
Yeah.
And you're very comfortable to me, Midwest sister living in Florida. Like it's a very comfortable connection. So I can feel you, because you can feel like if you're with somebody and you're like, oh, that, I don't know why, but I just don't like that person. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just not energy that's not aligned. There's nothing wrong with them either, So everything is energy. And I'm sure that every shaman works differently with every client, in my opinion, probably just like I work differently with every client, because not every client is me, nor the
Yeah.
same person. So with and I mean, as you know, but people, so shaman, they were the medical people in the tribes. They were the religious leaders in the tribes. They were the healers. They were the kind of the go-to therapy people in the tribes, right? So my shaman, what I do with her is basically, I mean, I have a call. It's been every 2 weeks, sometimes more frequently if I'm in some like type of way. I'm like, can I have another call? But um, but we talk through anything and everything, and just stuff shifts. If there's like some big block or there's something going on with a relationship, like which it was now. Now it's more, vast, and maybe nano on my business board, more vast energetically. It's it's feeling into, well, I guess, when you're going home, it's a different energy than you're living in your house. And are you going to go home and run the energy of being 12 and an insolent child, like your mother, may have treated you however long ago? Or are you going to go in there and allow that person to be themselves and do their thing and run their thing, and let that energy be that energy, and protect yourself and hold your own, so that there can be a relationship instead of
Mhm.
it's hard for me to describe, probably you too, but everything is energy, whether it's the water you're putting in your body or the invisible space between you and your family member. And who are you? Who am I in relationship to this family member? Who am I in relationship to this glass of water, right? It's kind of literally energetically sensing and feeling and knowing your place in the world, or where you don't belong. Where you don't belong is fine. I
Mhm.
don't belong in boots that are for a 7 foot tall man, right? There's just different, but I don't know if that you can probably speak more clearly too, right?
Well, like you said, it's kind of hard to describe, but I think one of the things that always kept me, I say I'm a seeker on a super deep level. Like I want to understand all the things. And one of the first things that started me on that path was as a child in school, when we learned that literally what we see as physical is particles
Vibrating.
vibrating with like 99% space in there, And so, and I always think it's fascinating when people don't really believe in like energy healing and even prayer, positive goodwill, things like that, because like we're so stuck in the seeing it as solid when really it's not solid. And so go ahead.
That study Dr. Emoto did, that water study.
Oh, I love that
So
one.
like in the was it the 60s? I can't remember when he did it, but this Japanese doctor named Dr. Emoto, I think his name starts with an M, his first name. Anyway, if you look up Dr. Emoto on the Google, it'll come in. And he did a study with water, which obviously Jeri Cristine knows too, that he took water and he would curse at it. And then another water, he would say thank you or like positive things into it. And he looked under the microscope, and the water crystals are different. The water,
Yeah.
it turns, because like all snowflakes are shaped differently. The water crystals responded to his cursing at it or his appreciating of it. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like everything is, and I mean, our bodies, every cell on our body is different. What is it? Every 7 years or something like that. We
Yeah.
are completely different bodies. So then energetically, this is I guess sort of shamanism in a nutshell. But energetically, if you keep thinking and feeling the same habitual thoughts and feelings and habitual, and it's never enough and I have to keep working, or you wake up at 3 a.m. spinning about name tags because of some event you're doing for your corporation or whatever, right? Those thoughts, even if you've been doing it for like, however many years, you're reprogramming your whole body. So even if we're new every 7 years, it all looks and feels the same because you're not changing your habits.
Totally. I actually know a lady here in Florida who 5 years ago, she started saying, I am so happy and grateful that I am a healthy 125 pounds. And she was about 20 pounds more than that when she started. And she says, I didn't change anything else. And I weigh 125. And she says, now my eating got better and my exercising got better because I felt better and I was grateful for myself. And she has maintained that 125 pounds. So she did it. It's been more than 5 years because she's maintained it for 5 years,
Right.
and it was being grateful and thankful. So that, like the study that you referenced with the water, they went on to do further studies where they just put words on the containers. They didn't even necessarily like talk to it like Dr. Emoto did, and still had the same effects because even words have energy, and everything.
Words have a lot of energy because
Oh
people,
yeah.
I mean, and that's one of the things I really work on with my clients a lot of the time, because you can have people coming in saying, well, I didn't eat so bad this past weekend, right? It's sort of a back door. Like, what if
Yeah.
you said, I ate more like I intended this week, right? That's a different door, right? And it really matters if you say, oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, because busy holds that like frenetic, hectic, busy, hectic, energy, and it runs. Busy is a state of mind. Overwhelm is a habit, right? You can always run overwhelm. We can choose to you can just say, I have a very full schedule, because I personally have an extremely full schedule, but I don't run the energy of busy. I don't run the energy. I used to only run that, but I don't run the energy of hectic or frenzy or crazy chicken with my head cut off. And I have all the time I want and need to get everything done. That's a
I
shamanic practice I used for a long time. I have all the time I want and need to get everything done. I can take 2 long walks with my dog. I get in my own exercise. I eat exactly the foods that I really want to eat. I get plenty of sleep. I meditate every day. And today I'm going 9 to 5:30 straight. So it's really the energy you run around your day that, I mean, and like she said, I am so happy and grateful. I am healthy and 125 pounds. Did she fake that? No, like you said, her eating shifted, her exercise shifted, her
Mhm.
feelings shifted, her mental state shifted, like she changed her habits.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love it. That and it's I always tell people, like, don't use affirmations that you can't believe. Like if you're like, oh, I'm so happy I'm 125 pounds,
Right, right, right. No,
like
because
that's
then you're
not.
like, then your subconscious comes in and says bullshit,
Yeah, exactly. My favorite one, because I used to say, well, what's the worst that could happen? And
And that's backspeak, if anything is,
exactly. But so many
wow.
people say it. It's so
Yeah,
common, right? Especially
it's,
maybe it's a Midwestern thing, but everybody says
oh
it.
yeah. And it's a
And so
self-fulfilling prophecy.
it is. And so I changed it to what's the best that could happen?
Yeah.
Like
How can
what's
I
the
make
best that
this
could happen?
easier? What's the best that can happen? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, that is so fun. I love it. Megan, I think people are going to be so excited about this episode and feel so connected with you. It's just I can tell that the way that you work with people is so fun and like really giving them space to truly be themselves. Because I personally feel like in the nutrition and fitness world, that's kind of missing because a lot of times people want to fit you in the box that works for them. And this is, we said before we started recording, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for everybody, you know?
In my opinion, it doesn't work for anybody. I mean, if you do it for you, my way for me, yes, but no, it can't be I posted this a long time ago. Maybe I should post about it again. But one of the things in the health and wellness industry that like really irks me the most is there's only one way to do it, or you have to do this protocol, or you have to take these supplements, I mean, I do believe that these things worked for those people. And if it didn't, I'm sorry that they're doing something that's not benefiting them.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, but no, it's really important that if you sense and feel, just generally, if you sense and feel something's not quite right with either what your doctor said or what you're eating or what a nutritionist said, or even if you haven't seen any of those people, but there's something not quite right, you're right. There's something not quite right. And you can figure out what that is, even if it's something, you might label as silly, it's not silly. And to figure out that little puzzle piece, it might not be a little puzzle piece. It might be a freaking keystone, cornerstone, so it's really fun to work with people because there's so much freedom that can come in, like just internal and external freedom that can come in.
That's so good. Megan, how do people connect with you if they want to reach out to you and start working with you?
Anywhere. On Instagram, I am at wellness_on_purpose. I answer any DM on there. I answer any DM on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Meghan Jones, Meghan Jones. I think I have a blue long sleeve shirt on in my picture. Sometimes you can find people, sometimes you can't, but I'm public on there. My email is Meghan, Meghan, at wellnessonpurpose.org. Yeah, you can find me anywhere, and I really will answer emails and DMs. I really like communicating with people and
That's
talk.
awesome. That's awesome. So I have two questions I ask everybody at the end of the podcast. My first question is, what is one book that you recommend that our listeners read?
Oh my gosh, only one?
Pick a favorite.
Um, I'm gonna say, gosh. Well, if you're open to channeled books, Ask and It Is Given, the Abraham Hicks book. That's really cool, and that is pretty kind of woo-woo. And another book, if you don't want to delve into the woo-woo, go into Untethered Soul. It's a very beautiful book.
Those are both good.
Yeah.
Okay, and my final question is, what is one thing that you wish everyone in the world knew?
Oh my gosh, that you're here on purpose. You're supposed to be here. I'm almost emotional about it. You're not supposed to be here feeling crappy. You're supposed to feel good 90% of the time with some normal human shit. You're not supposed to feel like shit 90% of the time with some 10% joy. Like you're here on purpose. And if it's not feeling right, that's just telling you your GPS is going the wrong way. You just need to figure out your direction. You're here on purpose.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You're here on purpose. Well, thank you, Megan, so much. I
Yeah.
think you were here on purpose today. I really appreciated speaking with you for
It was
sure.
really fun. This was really fun.
Thank you.